If you're watching live, thank you for joining me. Some of you have asked me to say a few words about the current situation. Well, here we are. Life is happening as it is. We find ourselves in the midst of a global crisis that is affecting us in very personal ways, each of us in our own way, impacting perhaps our family life or our business life or all the usual routines of everyday life. But this is it. This is it. This is where the rubber hits the road. This is where we're being tested or challenged. To really root ourselves in that which we might have been practicing for years. This is where all that spiritual practice, all that spiritual progress, this is where the rubber hits the road. This is where it gets tested. Has it led to anything? Has it made any difference? How are we meeting life now, as it's happening now? This is not just about a physical virus, this is a mental virus. I'm not really here to talk about the causes, to talk about whether it's a natural virus or an engineered virus, to talk about the different factors. So many factors are hidden, so many layers and levels that we are not directly aware of, that are hidden to us. We cannot really know what's happening, what's caused this situation. I'm not here to talk about that. Neither am I here to talk about what you should do to look after yourself. I'm here to talk about the opportunity that this offers us right in the midst of this crisis, the wake-up call. The wake-up call that is asking us to meet the unknown, to meet life in the unknown, and to root ourselves in that which is deeper, more real, and more true, and more constant than the vicissitudes of life, than the vicissitudes of the mind or the vicissitudes of the world. This is not woo-woo, this is not spiritual palliative, this is not another spiritual practice, this is real life. Here it is. Here it is. It's happening now. It's happening now. Meeting life in the unknown. It's bringing right up to the surface the fragility of life, the impermanence of life, the very real fact of death. Death and impermanence and the fragility of life are things that we tuck away, that we push away, that are taboo to talk about. And so for many people, life is spent amassing security and safety and so on and so on. When the bare fact of life is avoided, this is a great opportunity for us to get in touch, to come more in touch with our true humanity. A humanity that is both an individual relationship and also a collective relationship with the grief, the sadness, the brokenness, the disappointment that are part of the human condition. And again, we tend to tuck those away and deny those, not just in the spiritual world, but in the everyday world. Yeah, even those who are not on a spiritual path in any way, we tuck all these feelings away, so that when crisis comes, yeah, when the ups and downs of life come, whether they're personal and they're intensified when they're collective, we're shocked. How could this happen? So this is bringing us more in touch with reality so that we can meet life in the unknown. This doesn't disempower us, this gives us more power. Not power over life, but the power to root ourselves in something much deeper. The power to have a deeper conversation with ourselves. The power to listen to ourselves from a deeper place, from intelligence, and not from reactive mind, nor from the imagination that hopes for a brighter future, that hopes for a perfect world, that hopes that death never arrives on my doorstep, that hopes that I don't have to feel broken or disappointed or despairing or broken-hearted. This is all in the imagination. This is us bringing us much closer to that. When we're much closer to the reality of life, to the bare facts of life, to the bare fragility of life, we also come closer to the preciousness of life. We become more tender towards our own experience. We become more tender towards life. We become more tender to each other. We become kinder when we know that life is not permanent, that everything is impermanent. This life, our life, the planetary life, that serves to bring humility, to bring grace, to bring kindness, and to bring tenderness. We can meet life in the unknown. We stop being so certain of our future. We stop being so certain that we can control life, that we can have power over life. Getting in touch with these more innermost feelings, those feelings that we might have denied, is not the same as drama. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the drama that comes from reactivity, from the reactive mind, that freaks out about the future, my future, our future, that takes a position, an opinion this way or that way. This is what's happening. No, this is what's happening. No, this should be happening. This is how we should take care of it. I'm not talking about reactive mind. I'm not talking about drama. You know, when we respond to life, to our circumstances, whatever they are, and here it is intensified in this situation, when we respond with reactivity, fear is a reactive response. Fear is not what is happening to us. Fear is how we react to the circumstances, how we react to life. We're not really reacting to life, we're reacting to the imagination, the imagination of what's going to happen. And that imagination, when there's a crisis, is one of the end of life, the possibility, the very real seeming possibility that my life will end, that it will be destroyed, and it's all meaningless. And so we start hoarding, we start defending, and we start attacking, and we start meeting our experience with a divided mind. Fear is the conclusion we come to about our experience. What I'm speaking about is the possibility of meeting our experience in its full depth and its full breadth, its brokenness, its tenderness, its disappointment, and so on, without coming to a conclusion about it. Fear is the real virus here. Fear is when we give our allegiance to the imagination. And many people might say, well, it's not the imagination, this is happening. Our economy is being destroyed, or our society is being destroyed, or our well-being is being destroyed. I'm talking about the very immediacy of our experience. The very immediacy of our experience. In this moment, wherever you are, what is closer to you? What is closer than economic collapse? What is closer than social isolation? What is closer than any loss? What is closer than that? Because right here, right now, is your breath. Right here, right now, is presence. Right here, right now, is beingness. Again, this is not a spiritual palliative. This is not a spiritual band-aid. This is not about denying what is going on. It is not about sticking our heads in the sand. It's about meeting reality as it is. It's about waking up out of the dream of separation. The dream of separation keeps us in fear. It keeps us in mass hysteria. It keeps us in mass hypnosis. And in that place, we can only meet life from a divided state. And a divided state will always lead to division in the world. Here is our chance to listen more deeply, to meet from the innermost what is here, to remember and be rooted in now and now and now, in that which is more constant than anything that can be lost, than anything that can break. That which is more constant, that which has been with you ever since you were born, and ever since you took that first breath, and until you take the last breath, that which you can know as aliveness, as beingness. When I say aliveness, I mean the I amness, the simplicity, the nakedness of the I am that is here. This is the wake-up call. When we root ourselves in that, when we remember that, we are developing immunity. Here is our chance. here is the opportunity to develop immunity to all viruses. I'm talking primarily about the mental virus of fear. But I'm also talking about physical virus. They're connected. Everything in this world, everything in this existence is connected. Everything is a hologram of everything else, a reflection. Yeah, so the physical is a reflection of the mental, which is a reflection of the inner consciousness or unconsciousness. Immunity, real immunity, the whole integrity of the system, the mind-body integrity. This physiological and psychological system, there is immunity at all levels, or lack of immunity at all levels. Immunity is built when we know ourselves as this beingness, this here-ness, this now-ness, this presence, this openness. Right here, right now. It's a state of wholeness. No virus can penetrate wholeness. No virus can harm wholeness. Neither physical wholeness nor mental wholeness, psychological wholeness, psychic wholeness. This is your primary immunity. From that place, intelligence flows into your life. You can listen to a deeper intelligence. So you do what needs to be done on the external level in terms of actions to take care of yourself. But primarily, the foundation is your inner state of consciousness. To not run away with the drama, to not run away with the imagination, to give your allegiance to what is deeper than anything that can change. Because that which you are, that which you truly are as the I am, can never be taken away from you. Nobody and no thing has the power to take that away from you. This is how we contribute to the world. Yeah, it's no longer a time of spiritual luxury or spiritual hobby where we just go to our spiritual practice or our spiritual retreat or so and so in order to feel better about ourselves, in order to feel more elevated or more expanded or more abundant or wherever it might be. This is it. This is it. This is what we've been training for. Yeah, this is what we've been training for with our spiritual practice. This is how we start to change consciousness. This is how we start to contribute to the world, a true contribution. Not only are we seeing a seeming increase in unconsciousness in the world, mass unconsciousness or egoic consciousness, and that's very obvious now in the intensity of the divided world we live in. So that seems to be becoming bigger, yeah, that collective unconsciousness. Part of the reason for it seeming to become bigger is that we're all connected now in the information highways. Yeah, so we all know what's going on. Everyone has a voice, and so the voice of unconsciousness is getting louder. It's always been this way, but it appears to have become more prevalent or more powerful or more intensified, and that is because we're seeing it more. At the same time, there's a sort of parallel consciousness arising. That consciousness is less visible, that consciousness is quieter, that consciousness is more invisible, yeah? But this is the chance, this is the opportunity, this is our opportunity individually to take responsibility for that change in consciousness. It's not about becoming a spiritual person. It's not about achieving enlightenment. It's about waking up out of the dream of fear. It's about meeting life in the unknown. It's about moving and listening, listening and taking action or non-action when necessary from that which is deeper and truer. That's that which you know to be true in your innermost. And each of us has access to that. So we change individually, that consciousness changes individually, and eventually it is likely to change collectively. It's also likely that we will have waves of this fear-based reality coming at us. Incredible changes or upheavals will probably continue to come for a time, and each wave that comes is a bifurcation point, a point of intensification where we either evolve or we die. And that might be literal, but I also mean that in the sense of we either evolve into waking up or we regress into more unconsciousness and more fear. So this is a real big opportunity. And to remember that immunity is holistic. It's not just physical. All of you can develop immunity. We're in this together. We're in this together. And I'm here to remind you of what is real, of what is primary, of what is of utmost importance in this. Utmost importance. It's not the time to bury our heads in the sand. It's not the time to become a victim, to give our allegiance to victimhood. It's our chance not to fight, not to push back, but to root ourselves ever more deeply in whichever way is revealing itself for you. Whether you're having to socially isolate, whether you're having to stop working, or whether you're having to change the way you work, whatever is happening for you is the very opportunity to remember, to root yourself in now, to stop giving allegiance to the imagination and to bring it right back to this, to meet this, to meet this, to meet the uncertainty as openness, to meet the uncertainty as presence. Let's just finish with a little silence. So in this silence, just feel your heart beating, feel your breath coming and going. Feel what is closer, deeper than thought. Just this beingness here. This is your sanctuary. This is your immunity. A sanctuary that doesn't require you to build walls. There's no boundary to this immunity. It doesn't stop and start anywhere, but it begins with you. Okay. Be well. Remember, know yourself as this. This is your true power. Namaste.